Welcome back. The Clarity Act facing a make-or-break moment in the Senate with an August 7th deadline to get it done. President Trump urging Congress to pass the bill to honor the late Senator Lindsey Graham and put guidelines in place for the crypto market. Senate Digital Assets Subcommittee Chairman Cynthia Lummis joined me on the program yesterday to talk about the timeline. Watch.
It's taken us virtually every day for the last 10 months to get this bill in the condition it's in today, and we're ready. So we will be introducing in the next few days. We're going to be in session now for 4 straight weeks. It's very important that we get this bill across the finish line before the August recess begins, so we can make the markets aware of the stability that will be provided to them if they remain onshore in the United States to do business. This is a pivotal time for the industry, and we want to meet their needs.
Is it fair to say this bill will be on the Senate floor the week of July 20th?
Well, I expect it'll be that week.
Joining me now is Coinbase Chief Policy Officer Faryar Shirzad. Faryar, great to have you back. Welcome.
Thanks, Maria. Good to be on.
So the House Financial Services Committee holding a field hearing on Friday to examine the framework surrounding the Clarity Act. Once Clarity becomes law, how does it change things for Coinbase?
Well, Coinbase is the most comprehensive crypto-first platform in the United States. So what you're seeing right now in financial services is a broader move towards tokenizing financial assets. There's no company that's been able to be as comprehensively on the front end of that innovation as Coinbase has. And so as we build out what we call the Everything Exchange, where we're able to offer customers a full range of financial services, we're the company that's able to do that, and Clarity is the piece of legislation that gives us the regulatory certainty to offer those products to our customers.
I mean, I don't know, part of the holdup is about the ethics language in this bill, and I spoke with French Hill about it earlier, who is also optimistic that it's coming. Here's what the congressman told me, and the head of financial services just recently on Clarity. Watch.
We've got to get beyond concerns that some have about ethics. And I would summarize it like this, Maria. If we passed the Clarity Act last summer, many of the things that people were expressing concern about, meme coin issuance, co-investment, use of exchange, investing in exchanges, all that would be under a market framework of regulation with clarity, no pun intended. And that would provide a lot of transparency to people that are concerned about the Trump family's investments. We've got to look at the big picture here, and we've got to get this market framework in place to be combined with the Genius Act, which is the stablecoin legislation that's already been enacted into law. You can't have a functioning, innovative marketplace and grow this economy on blockchain and use digital assets and tokenization if you don't have both. Stablecoin is like a cell phone not connected to a cell phone network.
Faryar, for a long time we were talking about the competition between crypto and the major banks, and that was a setback because the banks were complaining, like Jamie Dimon, that crypto should not be able to pay rewards. Now it's around these ethics concerns, and I spoke with Cynthia Lummis about it yesterday, and whether or not the Democrats are just trying to stop the president's agenda, and that's really what the motivation is. Watch this.
We've continued to work on ethics language that the Congress has to live under and the president has to live under. Blind trusts are certainly on the table. And when we finally come to the language that both the Congress can live with and the White House can live with, I think it's going to be a decent balance and something fair. The president made his money on digital assets before he took the oath of office. So we have to make sure that people, when they are private citizens, can retain their rights to make money.
But, Senator, don't you believe that if there were any limits in this bill on President Trump's crypto endeavors, he'll veto the bill?
Well, and if it's targeted towards him, I don't blame him. This bill isn't in effect only while President Trump holds the office of the president.
So what do you think about all of this, Faryar? Do you think this is what's holding it up, language around ethics?
Look, I think the bill is a dramatic advance in consumer protection and market integrity. I think Chairman Hill had it exactly right. If this bill passes, even in the form that came out of the House, the advances it'll provide in terms of having a comprehensive federal regulatory framework that gives people confidence that these markets are operating clearly and with integrity, and you don't have manipulation or front running or any of those things will be addressed. Now, I know there's an effort in the Senate by a number of Democrats to add ethics provisions. That's something we in the industry really can't speak to. It's an amendment to the government ethics rules, which is really something policymakers need to figure out. And so we'll see what happens on that side of it. But even without an ethics provision, the bill is a dramatic step forward for the priorities that Democrats have laid out. And so I hope everybody keeps their focus on that reality.
Absolutely. Faryar, let's talk about your business, because crypto this morning is mixed. Bitcoin is around $65,000 after yesterday's better than expected CPI data. But we know that volume has come way down. Prices have come way down. Crypto traders are looking at the next Federal Reserve meeting at the end of this month. Yesterday's data lowering expectations for a rate hike. And there are worries that given the weakness in the crypto trading volume, that it's been the weakest in several quarters, as you know, but it could impact your overall growth story. Talk to us about the Everything Exchange and how this weaker volume affects business.
Well, even as crypto markets go up and down, the one trend that's been dramatic, and you've reported on it, is that there's an enormous move comprehensively across the financial system to move financial assets on chain, to turn stocks, bonds, a whole range of financial assets into tokenized form. And that trend is occurring dramatically, even as the underlying crypto markets go up and down. I think even in the last 30 days, the volume of stablecoin transactions has been in the multiple trillions. And so the adoption of crypto, stablecoins, tokenization is happening fast. The crypto markets as an asset class are not immune to macro conditions, so they'll go up and down as macro headwinds go up and down. But our conviction about what the future is and Coinbase's ability as the Everything Exchange to offer a full range of financial assets to our customers is something we have, a lot of confidence in. And we're going to see ourselves through this cycle like we have in the previous ones as well.
Absolutely. And you've been expanding into new businesses like stablecoin, which is going incredibly well. But do you need to continue to diversify so that Coinbase is not so heavily exposed to crypto pricing and volumes and perhaps to the core trading business?
Coinbase used to be very much, a trading platform, and most of our revenue came from that. Since then, we've really diversified dramatically into what we call subscription and services. These include, stablecoin offerings and a range of other things, custodial offerings. So Coinbase is much more than just a crypto spot exchange, and we're much more than just a U.S. exchange. We're very much of a globally comprehensive financial platform. Customers are coming to us for a broader range of their financial needs, and we're providing products to them to meet that demand that we're seeing. So we feel very good about how we're positioned. We are a crypto company. We are the leading U.S. crypto company in the world, but we're much more than that, and we're very well positioned as adoption continues to increase.
Yeah, and we see the higher stablecoin revenue growth really offsetting the exchange business. We get that. But, analysts are talking about the impact on earnings, for example, on quarterly numbers. This week, J.P. Morgan lowered its financial estimates for Coinbase's second quarter earnings because of these revenue pressures from the company's new hyper-liquid partnership, Faryar. So tell us about the growth story of Coinbase and how you believe this company will look different in 5 years.
I think how people interact with value is changing, just like the internet changed how people interacted with data. You used to have a situation where people had to use an intermediary, a newspaper, a legacy news station to be able to access data, and the internet changed all of that. The same trend is happening with tokenization. How people interact with value is changing dramatically. People now have the ability, because of tokenization, to hold and move their assets in a much more sort of empowered way than they used to. There's nobody in the world that's better positioned to provide services for customers that recognizes where the technology is taking us. whether it's agentic payments, whether it's tokenized equities, whether it's crypto, whether it's tokenized payments. Coinbase is the platform that is best positioned to allow for that to happen. Quarter to quarter, things will change, but fundamentally, the broader trend line is unambiguous, and there's nobody better positioned than Coinbase to take advantage of that.
What's the most important policy change, Faryar, that you need to see so that regulation keeps up with this growth?
Well, the policy changes occurred already. You're seeing the regulators, the bank regulators, the market regulators all adopting rules that make a lot of sense. We simply want the law to catch up to the policy and to create permanence so that we have certainty going over, into the long haul. I think we'll get that anyway. We have 2 more years under the Trump administration. Market practice, market behavior is all going to adapt to the rules and the policies that the Trump administration's laid out. Clarity is an opportunity to bed down those policies into permanent law, and I'm very confident we'll get there.
All right, we'll be watching it all. Faryar, great to have you this morning. Thank you.
Thanks, Maria. Good to be on.
All right, Faryar Shirzad joining us from Coinbase. We'll be right back.